Hello and welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be doing O-Level Physics 5054 for October-November 2021 Paper 1-1. So before starting, मैं आपको आपके एग्जाम के बारे में बताऊंगा and some things about our topical passengers. So first of all, जो आपका एग्जाम है, it will have 40 questions. Each question जो है, it is 1 mark. Total जो आपके पास marks होंगे for paper 1 will be 40 marks. You have to attempt all the questions. All 40 questions must be attempted. आपको इस पूरे पेपर के लिए 1 घंटा दिया जाएगा एंड ऑन एवरेज आपके पास 1 मिनट 30 सेकंड होंगे फॉर ईच क्वेश्चन। ठीक है ना? तो मैं आपको रिकमेंड करूंगा कि ना ही आप अपनी स्पीड ज्यादा स्लो रखें बिकॉज 1 आवर इज प्लेंटी ऑफ टाइम इफ यू यूटिलाइज इट लाइक प्रॉपरली। और बहुत कम टाइम भी हो सकता है इफ यू डू नॉट यूटिलाइज इट क्विकली, राइट? सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट द यूटिलाइजेशन, इट्स नॉट अबाउट द टाइम, इट्स अबाउट हाउ यू यूज इट। सो या, the pace should be like normal, ठीक है ना? और आगे हम आपको एक इजियर वे बता देते हैं। आवर टॉपिकल पैसेपर्स, हमने एक टॉपिकल पैसेपर्स लॉन्च किए हैं कि फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पास जो नॉर्मल टॉपिकल पैसेपर्स है इट्स जस्ट लाइक द अदर नॉर्मल टॉपिकल पैसेपर्स, बट हमारा जो एज है ओवर देम इज दैट फॉर एवरी टॉपिक देयर इज अ स्पेसिफिक क्यूआर कोड। जैसे ये क्यूआर कोड दिए एंड अगर आप इस क्यूआर कोड को स्कैन करोगे ये आपको एक प्लेलिस्ट के पास ले जाएगा विच विल सॉल्व दैट टॉपिक्स क्वेश्चन। सो फॉर एग्जांपल हमारी किताब में आपने रेडियो एक्टिविटी का चैप्टर खोला है, रेडियो एक्टिविटी का चैप्टर खोला है तो आपको फ्रंट पेज पे सबसे पहले रेडियो एक्टिविटी का एक क्यूआर कोड मिलेगा। अगर आप उसको क्यूआर कोड को ले वो करोगे, स्कैन करोगे, व्हाट विल हैपन इज दैट यू विल बी लेड टू अ प्लेलिस्ट। जैसे आपने अगर P2 का रेडियो एक्टिविटी का क्यूआर कोड स्कैन किया आप इस प्लेलिस्ट में आ जाओगे। इस प्लेलिस्ट में वेरियस वीडियोस हैं। इस प्लेलिस्ट एज यू कैन सी 23 वीडियोस हैं ऑफ लेंथ 13 मिनट्स, 14 मिनट्स, 10 मिनट्स, 15 मिनट्स, which will explain you all the questions regarding this chapter and the papers. Yeah, so that is it for the explanation and stuff. I will move on to the questions now. Question number one, which quantity is a vector? इफ वी नीड टू डिटरमिन कि कौन सी क्वांटिटी वेक्टर है, हमें पहले ये पता होना चाहिए वेक्टर क्वांटिटी होता क्या है। तो जो वेक्टर क्वांटिटी होती है ना, इट हैज बोथ डायरेक्शन एंड मैग्नीट्यूड। ठीक है ना? स्पीड के पास डायरेक्शन नहीं होती, फोर्स के पास डायरेक्शन होती है, मास के पास डायरेक्शन नहीं होती, डिस्टेंस के पास भी डायरेक्शन नहीं होती। अगर हम स्पीड की बात करें, स्पीड का जो काउंटर पार्ट है वेलोसिटी, वेलोसिटी के पास डायरेक्शन होती है। अगर हम मास की बात करें, वेट के पास डायरेक्शन होती है। डिस्टेंस की बात करें, डिस्प्लेसमेंट के पास डायरेक्शन होती है। ठीक है ना? सो जस्ट एडिशनल नॉलेज मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ, ठीक है ना? सो लेट्स मूव ऑन। क्वेश्चन नंबर टू इज अ बिट ट्रिकी। क्वेश्चन नंबर टू, टू फोर्सेस एक्स एंड वाई एक्ट अपॉन एन ऑब्जेक्ट, एरोज रिप्रेजेंट द मैग्नीट्यूड्स एंड द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द फोर्सेस। अच्छा जी, एक फनी बात बताऊं, जो पहले क्वेश्चन का आंसर है ना वो दूसरे क्वेश्चन में छुपा हुआ है। अगर आपको पहला क्वेश्चन नहीं भी आया है ना तो आपको दूसरा क्वेश्चन से पहले क्वेश्चन का पता चल जाता है, क्योंकि उन्होंने बताया हुआ है कि जो फोर्सेस है उनकी बोथ मैग्नीट्यूड है और डायरेक्शन है। जस्ट अ फनी थिंग आई जस्ट रियलाइज्ड, व्हिच एरो शो द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द रिजल्टेंट फोर्स। अच्छा जी, अब आपने खुद देख के मुझे बताना है इन दोनों, अभी पॉज करें और देख के बताएं इनमें से कौन सा रूल लगेगा। पैरेललोग्राम मेथड लगेगा या ट्रायंगल मेथड लगेगा, ऑल्सो नोन एज हेड टू टेल मेथड। इस पे लगेगा पैरेललोग्राम मेथड। व्हाई? बिकॉज जो इनका ओरिजिनेटिंग पॉइंट है ना दैट इज द सेम। जो जिस पॉइंट से ये दोनों जो फोर्सेस है वो निकल रहे हैं दैट इज द सेम। उनकी जो टेल्स है दोज आर कनेक्टेड। दैट इज व्हाई वी आर गोना यूज अ पैरेललोग्राम मेथड। पैरेललोग्राम मेथड में ये होता है कि आपने सेम जो लेंथ है उसको बना देना है पैरेलल। ठीक है ना? उसको बना देना है पैरेलल टू द एग्जिस्टिंग मैग्नीट्यूड्स। तो ये देखिए मैंने एक पैरेलल बना दिया है फ्रॉम ओ टू वाई। ओ वाई का मैंने एक पैरेलल बना दिया है और अब हम एक ओ एक्स का पैरेलल बना देते हैं। ठीक है ना? सो ये भी हो गया हमारे पास। एक और हो गया, आई थिंक इट वाज अ बिट शॉर्टर। तो ये हमने पैरेलल बना दिया है एंड नाउ इन ऑर्डर टू गेट द रिजल्टेंट फोर्स वी नीड टू स्ट्रेच अ लाइन फ्रॉम द origin A diagonal line from the origin to the end of the parallelogram. Complete the parallelogram. The diagonal of the parallelogram is the resultant vector of u plus v. ठीक है ना? तो या अगर आप देख सकते हैं कौन सा हमें नजर आ रहा है. A looks like similar to the one we drew. So yeah, let's move on. Question number three. Let me remove this. Question number three. Two identical objects begin to fall from west. One object falls from 200 meters above the Earth's surface, and the other one falls from 200 meters above the Moon's surface. 1 second after they have started to fall, both objects are still accelerating. There is no atmosphere on the moon, and the weight of each object is constant. तो weight भी constant है, but there is a difference. कि जो atmosphere है on the moon, that is non-existent. हमारी earth पे जो atmosphere है ना, there is an atmosphere on the earth, but there is no atmosphere on the moon. Which row describes the motion of both objects at this time? तो उन्होंने एक कंपैरिजन मांगा है. एक्सेलरेशन ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट फॉलिंग फ्रॉम अबव द अर्थ सरफेस. अर्थ की सरफेस और मून की सरफेस का उन्होंने हमसे एक समरी मांगी कि आर द ऑब्जेक्ट स्टिल एक्सेलरेटिंग ऑन द अर्थ सरफेस एंड ऑन द मून सरफेस. तो पहले हम अर्थ का आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हैं. सो एज वी हैव डिटरमिन्ड कि लेट्स से दिस इज अ मैन हु इज फॉलिंग और उसके पास एक कांस्टेंट फोर्स है विच इज वेट. वेट का फोर्स है विच इज ऑलवेज एक्टिंग ऑन द मैन. लेकिन इसका एक अपोजिंग फोर्स भी है. व्हेनेवर एन ऑब्जेक्ट इज थ्रोन इनटू द एटमॉस्फेयर ऑन द एयर, यू कैन से अगर एक बंदा है वो बिल्डिंग से उसने छलांग मारी है, उसका वेट तो वेट है ही विच इज एक्टिंग डाउनवर्ड्स, बट देयर इज अनदर फोर्स विच इज एक्टिंग अपवर्ड्स विच इज द एयर रेजिस्टेंस. एयर रेजिस्टेंस किस वजह से होती है? बिकॉज द अर्थ हैज एन एटमॉस्फेयर. ठीक है ना? सो जैसे ही ये बंदा नीचे छलांग मारेगा, एक अपोजिंग फोर्स बिल्डअप होना शुरू हो जाएगी विच इज द एयर रेजिस्टेंस विच इज इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. सो उसकी जो एक्सेलरेशन है दैट विल बिगिन टू डिक्रीज द मोमेंट ही जंप्स ऑफ द बिल्डिंग. व्हाइल ऑन द अदर हैंड, अगर आप मून पे यही सेम सिनेरियो अप्लाई करने की कोशिश करो कि एक बंदा है उसने छलांग मारी ऑन द मून, राइट? ही बिगिंस टू फॉल, but the acceleration is constant. Acceleration will not decrease. Why is that? That is because क्योंकि मून के पास कोई एटमॉस्फेयर है ही नहीं. मून पे कोई एटमॉस्फेयर है ही नहीं, therefore the acceleration will not slow down because there is no opposing force which is acting on the moon. जैसे अर्थ पे एक एयर रेजिस्टेंस है विच इज एन अपोजिंग फोर्स, लेकिन मून पे ऐसा कोई फोर्स नहीं है. दैट मीन्स कि जो मून का जो acceleration and that is constant. Earth का जो acceleration है that is decreasing. Therefore, A is the right answer. Question number 4. The diagram shows a car going around a circular track at a constant speed. Which arrow shows the direction of the resultant force of the car? As I have told you a million times, whenever an object is moving in a circular path, the what do you call it? The resultant force is always towards the center of the direction of motion. So D is the right answer because जब भी एक गाड़ी या ऑब्जेक्ट है इट इज मूविंग इन अ सर्कुलर पाथ, राइट, उसका जो सेंट्रिपिटल फोर्स है यू कैन से इट इज ऑलवेज टुवर्ड्स द सेंटर एज द नेम अप्लाइज सेंट्रिपिटल फोर्स. तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 भी हो गया. क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. एन इलेक्ट्रॉन हैज अ मास. वेयर डज अ स्टेशनरी इलेक्ट्रॉन एक्सपीरियंस अ फोर्स. हमें 3 फील्ड्स दी हुई हैं जिनमें से पूछा हुआ है कि किन किन फील्ड्स में एक इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है दैट एक्सपीरियंसेस अ फोर्स. एक फील्ड होगी हमारे पास इलेक्ट्रिक, एक होगी ग्रेविटेशनल और एक होगी मैग्नेटिक. तो इन तीनों फील्ड्स का मैंने जिक्र किया हुआ है. और एक स्टेशनरी इलेक्ट्रॉन इनमें से किन किन फील्ड्स में एक फोर्स एक्सपीरियंस करता है. आई हैव मेंशन दैट हियर. ग्रेविटेशनल फील्ड. एक ग्रेविटेशनल फील्ड में फॉर एनी ऑब्जेक्ट दैट हैज अ मास, दैट ऑब्जेक्ट विल एक्सपीरियंस अ फोर्स ड्यू टू द ग्रेविटी. जिस भी ऑब्जेक्ट के पास एक मास होगा वो ऑब्जेक्ट एक फोर्स हमेशा एक्सपीरियंस करेगा दैट इज द फोर्स ड्यू टू द ग्रेविटी. एंड एज दे हैव मेंशन्ड दैट द इलेक्ट्रॉन हैज अ मास. ठीक है ना? सो दैट मीन्स के Gravitational, and gravitational. B, C, or D is the right answer. Electric. Electron has a negative charge. If you place an electron which is stationary in an electric field, it will experience a force. Therefore, the answer is either C or D. And lastly, magnetic. इधर जो ज्यादातर बच्चे हैं ना, they will get the answer wrong. ठीक है ना? An electron will not experience a force due to the magnetic field because this might seem like a controversial claim, but मैं आगे आपको समझाता हूँ. Because they have mentioned that the electron is stationary, and when an electron is stationary, it will not feel a force due to the magnetic field and affect charged particles when they are in motion. The magnetic field will only affect the charged particles when they are in motion. Therefore, C is the right answer because the electron will only feel a force when it is in a gravitational field and an electric field. And let me highlight the statement that it is stationary. Question number 6. A stone is placed in a measuring cylinder of water as shown. The volume of water in a cylinder before adding the stone is 15 centimeters cube and the stone has a mass of 90 grams. What is the density of the stone? So they, अच्छा जी. So first of all we need to identify what we need for the density. Density का दो formula होते हैं. Density is equals to mass divided by volume और density is equals to rho gh. आपने अपना दिमाग खुद ही लगा के सोचना है कि कौन सा फॉर्मूला यूज होगा and which is pretty obvious. Density is equals to mass divided by volume. mass हमारे पास है which is straight away उन्होंने हमें दिया हुआ है 90 ग्राम हमारे पास mass है. But the volume is a bit contested. Volume हमने खुद निकालना है. तो उन्होंने हमें बता दिया है कि before adding the stone जो initial volume है volume है volume that is 15. The final volume is 75. Final volume is 75. So what is the difference between them? Final है after adding the stone that is 75. Before adding the stone that is 15. The 75 minus 15 will give us the volume occupied by the stone which is 60 centimeter cube. So 90 divided by 60 will give us the answer which is sorry 60 which is 1.5 grams per centimeter cube which is C. The right answer is C. Question number 7. The extension of a spring is measured for various loads. The limit of proportionality is not reached. The limit of proportionality is this point. इसके बाद जितने भी plottings होंगे that will be improportional. It will not be proportional to the two values. ठीक है ना? Which graph shows the extension load graph for the spring? So first of all we need to determine how does a graph which is proportional जिसकी value is proportional है how does that look like? How does a graph look like for the values which are proportional to each other? Proportional to each other. अगर दोनों values proportional है to each other, the graph would look something like this. अगर आप इस extension load graph में देखते हो, until it reaches the limit of proportionality, the graph is proportional. But after it reaches the limit of proportionality, the graph is not proportional to each other. ठीक है ना? So that is what they have already told us. The limit of proportionality is not yet reached. Therefore, the graph will be proportional. Question number 8. I mean linear. ठीक है ना? Question number 8. An underwater diver moves from the ocean to a freshwater lake. The density of water in the lake is less than in the ocean. In which position does the diver give the smallest pressure due to the water? अच्छा जो pressure होता है ना it is dependent on three things. I mean two things. एक तो हो गया rho g जिसका formula है density into g which is gravitational field strength into h which is height. ठीक है ना? हम ग्रेविटेशनल फील्ड स्ट्रेंथ को निकाल देंगे. व्हाई यू माइट आस्क? बिकॉज ग्रेविटेशनल फील्ड स्ट्रेंथ जो है दैट इज अ कांस्टेंट. जी इज अ कांस्टेंट. That is why it is not changing. So the only thing which is depending is density and the height. Height and density are the depending factors on pressure. अगर आप डेंसिटी ज्यादा करोगे तो प्रेशर ज्यादा होगा, हाइट ज्यादा करोगे तो प्रेशर ज्यादा होगा। तो हमने ऐसी पोजीशन देखनी है जिसमें दोनों ही काम हो, ठीक है ना। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, दे हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड अस दैट द डेंसिटी ऑफ वाटर इन द लेक इज लेस देन इन द ओशन। लेक में डेंसिटी कम है, तो इट्स आइदर सी और डी। वी आर लुकिंग फॉर द स्मॉलेस्ट डेंसिटी एंड द स्मॉलेस्ट हाइट स्लैश डेप्थ, ठीक है ना। तो लेक में जो है वो डेंसिटी स्मॉलर है, देयरफॉर इट्स आइदर सी और डी। एंड नाउ वी हैव टू लुक फॉर अनदर फैक्टर व्हिच इज द हाइट। हाइट सबसे कम किस पॉइंट पे होगी? हाइट कम सी पे होगी या डी पे होगी? हाइट विल बी द लीस्ट एट द पॉइंट सी, ठीक है ना, क्योंकि इट इज क्लोजर टू द surface ऑफ द वाटर, therefore the water will be applying less pressure due to the depth, ठीक है ना। so C will be the answer. Question number 9, air is trapped in a cylinder by a piston. जब भी examiner trapped का word use करे ना, that means that the mass is fixed. The pressure of the air is P and the length of the air column is 20 centimeters. The piston is moved outwards. मतलब इसका जो volume है that is increasing. The length of the air column increases by 40 centimeters. The temperature of the air remains constant. What is the new pressure? नए pressure का पूछ रहे हैं. So as they have already told us that the volume is increasing. And since the volume and pressure are inversely proportional, what happens is as the volume increases, the pressure will decrease. ठीक है ना। तो मैंने एक छोटा सा डायग्राम बनाया, दिस इज अ फिगर वन। फिगर वन में आप देख सकते हैं सिक्स पार्टिकल्स एंड देयर इन अ कॉलम विच इज 20 सेंटीमीटर्स लॉन्ग। एज यू कैन सी जो पार्टिकल्स है दोज आर वेरी क्लोज टुगेदर, एंड एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दैट जो पार्टिकल्स है दे विल हिट द पिस्टन मोर, राइट। पार्टिकल्स पिस्टन को ज्यादा हिट करेंगे बिकॉज दे आर क्लोज टुगेदर। बट जब उनकी वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज कर देंगे, जो पार्टिकल्स होंगे दे विल नॉट हिट द पिस्टन एज मच, देयरफॉर व्हाट विल हैपन इज दैट द प्रेशर विल डिक्रीज, ठीक है ना। नाउ वी हैव टू अप्लाई अ फॉर्मूला, बट उससे पहले आप खुद सोचें कि कौन सा फॉर्मूला अप्लाई होगा। हमारे पास प्रेशर है और हमारे पास इनिशियल और फाइनल वॉल्यूम है। विच फॉर्मूला विल बी अप्लाई इन ऑर्डर टू गेट द रेशियो ऑफ pressure? That will be P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2, ठीक है ना। P1 हम एज इट इज लिख देंगे, V1 की जगह हम लिखेंगे 20 बिकॉज दैट इज द इनिशियल साइज ऑफ द कॉलम, और P2 हम एज इट इज लिख देंगे, V2 की जगह हम लिखेंगे 60 बिकॉज दैट इज द फाइनल कॉलम लेंथ, ठीक है ना। सिंस वी हैव टू मेक P2 द सब्जेक्ट, हम उसके साथ जो 60 मल्टीप्लाई हो रहा है हम इधर ले जाएंगे, राइट। 60 यहाँ मल्टीप्लाई हो रहा है, यहाँ जाके डिवाइड हो जाएगा। तो P1 20 डिवाइडेड बाय 60 विल बी इक्वल टू P2। आपको अभी तक पता चल जाना चाहिए कि हमने P2 को क्यों सब्जेक्ट बनाया है। दैट इज बिकॉज वी हैव टू गेट द न्यू एयर प्रेशर एंड P2 इज द फाइनल प्रेशर, ठीक है। 20 डिवाइडेड बाय 60 इज 1/3। तो P1/3 is the right answer, which is P2. P1/3 को हम P/3 भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं, ठीक है ना, which is equals to P2, which makes B the right answer. Question number 10. एक second. Question number 10. When the pressure exerted by the atmosphere is 0.1 megapascals, the height of the mercury in the barometer is 0.76 meters. What is the pressure exerted by the atmosphere when the height of the mercury in the simple barometer is 0.57 meters? So first of all, let me tell you some things about the mercury barometer. ठीक है ना? Mercury barometer is used for calculating the atmospheric pressure. ठीक है ना? जैसे आपको मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि जितना हम क्लोज होंगे ना अर्थ के, जितना हम करीब होंगे अर्थ के, उतना ज्यादा प्रेशर होगा। जितना हम दूर जाते रहेंगे अर्थ के, उतना कम प्रेशर होता जाएगा, ठीक है ना। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आप इस बैरोमीटर को एक माउंटेन पे ले जाते हो तो इस बैरोमीटर की हाइट कम होगी। वाई? बिकॉज द प्रेशर इज लोअर। समझ आ गई? सो दैट वाज द कपल थिंग्स आई वांटेड टू टेल यू अबाउट द बैरोमीटर। लेट्स कम बैक टू द क्वेश्चन, ठीक है ना। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, हाउ कैन वी कैलकुलेट द, what do you call it, pressure? We're going to use the ratio method. Ratio method. ठीक है ना। So 0.76, 0.76 what do you call it, हाइट पे हमारा जो प्रेशर है दैट इज 0.1 मेगा एम्पेयर्स, मेगा पास्कल सॉरी, 0.1 मेगा पास्कल्स, ठीक है ना। तो हमारा 0.57 मीटर्स पे कितना प्रेशर होएगा? वी कैन यूज द रेशियो मेथड फॉर दैट, ठीक है ना। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल 0.76 will be divided by 0.57 is equals to 0.1 divided by x लिख देते हैं, ठीक है ना। तो let's do the math. 0.76 divided by 0.57 is 1.333, 1.333, और यहाँ x मल्टीप्लाई डिवाइड हो रहा है, वहां जाके मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा और 1.333 नीचे आके डिवाइड हो जाएगा। तो 0.1 डिवाइडेड बाय 1.33333 will be equal to x, which is the final pressure, which is 0.075. So B is the right answer. आगे चलते हैं। Question number 11. The diagram shows a block of mass m pulled in a straight line along a horizontal surface by a force F. The block moves a distance d in time t. The average speed at which the block moves is v. Which two quantities must be known to calculate the work done? So first of all, for work done, the formula for work done is equals to force into distance, ठीक है ना, या डिस्प्लेसमेंट, फोर्स मल्टीप्लाइड बाय डिस्टेंस स्लैश डिस्प्लेसमेंट, ठीक है। सो हमें तो एक फोर्स तो लाजमी चाहिए होगा, राइट। फोर्स तो हर ऑप्शन में है, लेकिन another thing which we will need is the distance. तो हमारे पास डिस्टेंस है which is डिस्टेंस डी है हमारे पास, तो ए इज द राइट आंसर। क्वेश्चन नंबर 12. द डायग्राम शोज द इनसाइड ऑफ अ रेफ्रिजरेटर, ये हमें नजर आ रहा है क्रॉस सेक्शन ऑफ द रेफ्रिजरेटर, और जो कूलिंग यूनिट होता है दैट कीप्स द एयर कूल, ठीक है ना। व्हेन द रेफ्रिजरेटर इज फर्स्ट स्विच्ड ऑन, व्हाट हैपेंस टू द एयर नियर द कूलिंग यूनिट? तो फर्स्ट लेट मी एस्टैब्लिश अ फैक्ट दैट द कूल एयर इज डेंसर देन द हॉट एयर, ठीक है ना। दिस इज जस्ट अ फैक्ट, हमें इसकी साइंस जानने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, ठीक है ना। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, द मॉलिक्यूल्स ऑफ दिस एयर बिकम स्मॉलर और मूव क्लोजर। So the molecules never become smaller, ठीक है ना। The molecules may move closer or may move apart, but they will never come smaller. So it's either C or D. Now we have to determine that the density of this air is either decreased or increased. What have I told you? That near the cooling unit, जो ठंडी हवा होगी वो cooling unit से escape कर रही होगी and it will be sinking, right? Because the cold air is more dense than hot air. Since the cold air is more dense than hot air, the density of this air will increase. So D is the right answer. Question number 13. Less thermal energy is needed to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of copper by 1 degree Celsius than is to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So what they're practically saying is, okay, for example, this is 1 kilogram of water and this is 1 kilogram of copper. What they're saying is कि water को ज़्यादा energy चाहिए होगी for 1 kilogram of water in order to raise 1 degree Celsius of the water's temperature, और कॉपर है उसको कम एनर्जी चाहिए होगी टू डू द सेम, ठीक है ना। सो या लेट्स रीड द स्टेटमेंट्स. Which statement explains this? Copper has a higher melting point. That has nothing to do with the answer. Copper has a lower specific heat capacity. This might be the answer. Specific heat capacity क्या होती है? It is the heat energy required in order to do what? To raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of substance, in order to raise the temperature of 1 kg of substance by unit temperature. ठीक है ना. It is the heat energy required in order to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of substance by unit temperature. So copper has a lower specific heat capacity that would result in the copper being heated faster. ठीक है ना. Question number 14. The graph is the temperature time graph for a sample of wax that is heated so that it melts. So there is a change in state. ठीक है ना? आगे पढ़ लेते हैं. The mass of the wax is 200 grams. 200 grams is the mass. The thermal energy supplied to the wax at a constant rate of 12,000 joules per minute. What is the specific latent heat of fusion of the wax? तो specific latent heat का formula क्या होता है? Q is equals to ml. ठीक है ना? तो Q is the thermal energy. M हमारे पास है, L हमने निकालना है. So how do we calculate Q? तो as we know that whenever there is state change, जो line होती है that is a straight line. समझ आ गई? For example, that line is y to z. Y to z. ठीक है ना? Let's just say. So basically, from y to z, the temperature of the wax will remain constant. क्योंकि ना जो सारी थर्मल एनर्जी है दैट इज गोइंग टुवर्ड्स द चेंज ऑफ स्टेट. ठीक है ना? अगर आपने एक चीज को सॉलिड से लिक्विड में करना है तो द ऑल द एनर्जी विल बी एलोकेटेड टुवर्ड्स द चेंज ऑफ स्टेट because you have to break bonds and all the energy will be supplied to break the bonds. समझ आ गई? So yeah, एक सेकेंड. सो उन्होंने बोला है 12,000 जूल्स पर मिनट. एंड इधर से इधर तक का जो टाइम है वो भी हम निकाल लेते हैं. दैट विल बी 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 and 4 minutes. तो 4 minutes टोटल टाइम है. एंड एज वी कैन सी दैट 12,000 joules is provided every minute. So if we multiply 4 by 12,000, won't we get our total thermal energy? That will be 48,000. 48,000 will be the total thermal energy. Sorry. Mass है हमारे पास 200 grams. Since they have asked the answer in grams, joules per gram, so we have to calculate that. Multiplied by L. So 48,000 divided by 200. 48,000 divided by 200, that will be 240 joules per gram. So that we can see in B. B is the right answer. Question number 15. A fixed amount of gas is trapped inside a metal can. ट्रैप का क्या मतलब है? मैंने आपको शायद इधर बताया था. Yeah, I told you here. Trapped means के no mass is being lost. No mass is being lost. The temperature of the gas decreases, but the volume does not change. How does this affect the kinetic energy of the gas molecules and the pressure inside the can? तो as we know, अगर kinetic energy कम होगी तो प्रेशर भी कम होएगा. काइनेटिक एनर्जी ज्यादा होगी तो प्रेशर भी ज्यादा होगा. काइनेटिक एनर्जी कैसे ज्यादा होगी? टेम्परेचर ज्यादा होगा तो काइनेटिक एनर्जी ज्यादा होगी. गिवन दैट द मास इज केप्ट कांस्टेंट एंड द वॉल्यूम इज केप्ट कांस्टेंट. ठीक है ना? अगर हमारा जो है व्हाट डू यू कॉल इट, टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज होएगा. टेम्परेचर decrease in temperature will mean that the thermal energy which is provided to the metal can is lowered, and when the thermal energy is lowered, the kinetic energy will decrease. And when the kinetic energy decreases in the particles, जो particles पहले 10 meters per second travel कर रहा था, it is now moving 2 meters per second. So it will hit the can less. Therefore, the pressure will decrease. So A is the right answer. Question number 16. The diagram shows a room temperature liquid in a beaker. अच्छा जी. What reduces the rate of loss by evaporation? Evaporation को काफी चीजें affect करती है. नाम करा list a few of them. ठीक है ना? Just for your like understanding. क्योंकि ना ये 2 मिनट का क्वेश्चन है. Let me just increase in temperature will increase the evaporation. If we decrease the humidity, it will increase the temperature. I mean, increase the evaporation. If we increase the surface area, it will increase the evaporation. And if we increase the flow of air, यू कैन से, ठीक है ना। और एयर सर्कुलेशन को हम इंक्रीज कर दें, दैट विल इंक्रीज द evaporation. तो अब हम देख लेते हैं between these 4 points. blowing across Blowing air across the top of the beaker, as I told you, increasing the flow of air will increase the evaporation. Therefore, A is not the answer. Heating the liquid will increase the temperature. Therefore, it will increase the evaporation, and that is not the answer. Putting a lid on the beaker. If we put a lid on this beaker, जो particles escape कर रहे होंगे, those particles will be blocked. जैसे अगर ये particle है that is coming, but it will not have anywhere to go. So it will be trapped inside the beaker. Therefore, it will decrease the evaporation. So E is the right answer. And D, transferring the liquid into a beaker with a larger diameter. Larger diameter means कि उसका जो surface area होगा that will be larger. So जो ये पहला surface area था, larger diameter वाला circle जो है उसके पास ज्यादा diameter होगा, ज्यादा area होगा. That means कि जो हमारी evaporation है that will increase. Question number 17. A water wave on a pond passes into a region where the wave travels more slowly. It then returns to a region where it travels at the original speed. Assume that the frequency of the wave stays constant. Which side view of the wave is correct? So they are saying that the water wave is entering a region where the wave travels more slowly and the frequency is constant. तो मैं आपको उसके फॉर्मूला से समझा देता हूँ. V is equals to F lambda. लैम्डा मैं एज इट इज लिख रहा हूँ, ठीक है ना. जो हमारे पास फ्रीक्वेंसी है ना दैट इज अनचेंज्ड. देयरफॉर जब वेव लेंथ चेंज होगी तब वेलोसिटी चेंज होगी, जब वेलोसिटी चेंज होगी तब वेवलेंथ चेंज होगा, ठीक है ना. In this case that the velocity has decreased, that means that the wavelength will decrease as well, because velocity and wavelength are directly proportional to each other, ठीक है ना. So the wavelength is decreasing. So A can be the answer and C cannot be the answer. Why, you might ask? I can tell you in a minute. So A is the right answer because before entering and after entering the area of low velocity, जो water wave थी, it was in a area where the wave was traveling at the original speed. So yeah, A is the right answer. Question number 18. What is meant by the amplitude of a wave? ठीक है ना. तो जो amplitude होता है ना, it is the distance between the origin to the maximum point of the wave. तो इसके बीच में जो distance होगा that would be the amplitude. अच्छा जी, इससे कोई मिलता जुलता आंसर ढूंढ लेते हैं. A, the distance between the extreme points of the particle's motion. No. B, the maximum distance a particle moves from its equilibrium position. This seems like the right answer. Equilibrium position is basically the origin. You can name it either way. ठीक है ना. So yeah, let's move on. Question number 19. The diagram shows one wavefront of a wave as it travels from deep water to shallow water in a ripple tank. What happens as the wavefronts move into the shallow water? As the wavefront moves into the shallow water, the speed of the wavefront will decrease. Why, you might ask? When a wave moves from the deep water to a shallow water, the wave will slow down. And the reason being for this phenomenon is that the wave speed is directly proportional to the depth of the water. Not directly proportional, but it is related to the depth of the water. जो shallow water होता है ना, उसमें ना वेव ज्यादा रेजिस्टेंस फेस करती है, while in the bottom of the body of water the wave will experience less resistance. So B is the right answer. Question number 20. A ray of light passes into a block. It travels through the glass block and then emerges into the air. Which angle is the angle of refraction at the surface xy? So ये wave ने enter किया, ray ने enter किया, the glass, and as it is exiting, this will be the ray of refraction. ठीक है ना. So the ray of refraction. So the angle made between the ray and the normal is the angle of refraction. ठीक है ना. So the angle made between the normal and the refracted ray is going to be the angle of refraction, which is D. Question 21. two rays of light pass through the lens in region X. ठीक है ना? Which type of lens is in region X and which type of image is formed? अच्छा जी, converging या diverging lens? I will tell you what converging means. Converging means is coming closer together. ठीक है ना? While diverging means separating from each other. तो आपको क्या लग रहा है? Is this wave separating or is it coming closer to each other? It is obviously separating. ठीक है ना? It would have eventually normally gone here, but it went here. That means it is going away from the actual path. That means that the lens is diverging. अच्छा जी. And how about the type of image? The type of image जो है, अगर हम इसको extend कर दें, this point, we can see that the image is being formed here. ठीक है ना? That means that the image is diminished and the image is virtual. So D is the right answer. Question 22. A girl is long-sighted. Which statement is correct? A. She sees close objects less clearly than a person with normal vision. That is exactly what long-sightedness is. मैं C और D से आपको एक concept समझाता हूँ. The fault is corrected with a diverging lens. No, the fault is corrected with a converging lens. क्योंकि जो long sightedness होती है ना, उसमें जो image form होती है, that is behind the retina, and we have to form the image at the retina. तो हम एक ऐसा लेंस लेते हैं which converges the lights, और जो lights होती हैं that form closer to the retina. तो yeah, it creates a clearer image. The image of a close object is formed in front of the retina. No, it is formed behind the retina. So yeah, let's move on to question number 23. Light rays are deviated by a prism. The deviation angle D is measured for light rays of different frequencies, including blue light and red light. Which graph of D against frequency is correct? As we can see, the original path of the white light वो इधर जा रही है. And as they have told us that this angle made between the original path and the color is the angle D. तो हमने options देखने और options में determine करना है. So as we move from red to violet, the angle is increasing. ठीक है ना? As we move from the original ray to the colors and from red to blue, the angle is increasing. So किसमें हमें एंगल इंक्रीज होता हुआ नजर आ रहा है? We can see that in B and D. And from red to blue. पहले रेड आ रहा है, फिर ब्लू आ रहा है आगे जाके. ठीक है ना? तो यहाँ ब्लू टू रेड है और यहाँ रेड टू ब्लू है. Which one is correct? It is D. Very simple. Question 24. Which component of electromagnetic spectrum is used for the remote control of a television? That is gonna be infrared rays. I'm not even gonna waste time on that. You just need to remember it. ठीक है ना? आगे चलते हैं. Question number 5. A student stands at distance X in front of a large wall. He claps his hand at a regular rate so that each clap coincides with the echo from the previous clap. In a time t, he claps his hand n times. Which expression is used to calculate the speed of sound in the air? So first of all, in order to calculate the speed of sound, we will need two things. Since speed is equals to distance over time, we will need distance and we will need the time. Time तो t है, हमने बस distance निकालना है. That is the only thing we have to do. So let me explain a couple things to you. So what the examiner says is that जो student है, he will clap his hand, अपना हाथ clap करेगा, उधर से एक आवाज जाएगी, आवाज it will produce an echo. What is the echo? Echo is the reflection of sound. जैसे ये स्टूडेंट है, उसने एक साउंड डायरेक्ट किया टुवर्ड्स द वॉल. ठीक है ना? he is gonna hear that sound again when it reaches back to him because it is reflected. तो देखो, the same will happen here. जो student है, that will create a sound with his clap, और उसके बाद जब sound इधर पहुंची है to the wall, the sound will reflect back and he will hear the sound. ठीक है ना? So what is the total distance between the student, the wall, and the student back? That is gonna be 2x. And how many times did the student do this? He did this n number of times in the time t. तो हम कौन सा लेंगे? हम 2x by t and t लेंगे, कौन सा लेंगे? वो आप देखिए. The student claps his hand n number of times and it takes the total distance between the student and the wall is x, and the total distance we're gonna take is 2x. Why? Because the student hai, he hears the echo after the sound travels from the student to the wall and from the wall back to the student. So we're gonna take 2 and x as the distance. And what will be the time? The time is the total time, which is t. So divided by t is gonna be our answer, which is the speed of sound in air. D is the right answer. Question number 26. An ultrasound scanner produces an image of an unborn baby. What does the scanner use to form an image of the baby? It is gonna be ultrasound absorbed by the baby. The absorption of ultrasound will not give us an image. Ultrasound emitted by the baby. No. Emission will not be like it will not do anything. And C. Ultrasound reflected by the baby. ठीक है ना? That sounds like the right answer. मतलब अगर एक चीज से for example, एक चीज से something is reflecting off of it, like a mirror, you can say, it can make a image on the other side, right? The same is with ultrasound. Ultrasound is refracted by the baby. That just sounds funny. So yeah. Question 27. Object X is on an electronic balance. Object Y is held above object X as shown. The reading on the balance increases when y is moved closer to x. Why does this happen? Why does this happen? It is because of the force of repulsion. ठीक है ना? It is because of the force of repulsion. जो block y है, it is repelling block x. How do we know that? Because the electronic balance का जो reading है, that is increasing. अगर ये attract कर रहे होते, if the two blocks were attracting each other, जो electronic balance है उसकी reading को कम होना चाहिए था, but since they are repelling each other, what is happening is that the y is repelling x, therefore it is causing the x to go downwards, and when the x goes downwards, it means that the reading will increase. आप मुझे बताएं one test to check whether two things are magnets or not. It is the test of repulsion. ठीक है ना? It is the test of repulsion because a magnet can attract a magnetic material, but only two magnets repel each other. A magnet will not repel a magnetic material, while a magnet will repel another magnet. So yeah, what does this mean? It means X and Y are both magnets. X and Y are both magnets. Let me explain that once again. A magnet will not repel a magnetic material, while a magnet will what do you call it? Repel another magnet if they are facing the same pole. So yeah. Question 28. A teacher wants to demagnetize a bar magnet and tries three different methods. 1. Heat the bar magnet to a high temperature and let it cool. Place the bar magnet east to west and hammer it. 3. Place the bar magnet inside a coil that has direct current in it and remove it from the coil slowly. Which methods demagnetize the bar magnet? There are two methods to demagnetize a bar magnet. First is to heat the bar magnet and to hammer it. ठीक है ना? So the first method is 1 and 2. ठीक है ना? So that the small magnets, like the miniature magnets, they lose their alignment after they are hammered. So 1 and 2 are the right answer. Let me tell you why 3 isn't. दैट इज बिकॉज के जो सोलेनॉइड होता है ना, इट कैन बी यूज टू डीमैग्नेटाइज, but only in the case that the coil carries an alternate current. The coil should carry an alternate current rather than a direct current. So that is why C is the wrong option. And 1 and 2 are right. Question 29. A piece of paper torn out of an exercise book is shown. What is being defined? Dash and dash is the work done measured in joules of unit charge on unit charge measured in coulombs as it moves around the circuit. So we all of the students probably know what they're talking about. They're talking about EMF. EMF is equals to work done divided by charge. ठीक है ना? So yeah, it is very evident that the answer is B, which is the EMF. Question 30. Which circuit is connected to measure the current in the fixed resistor and the potential difference across the same resistor? So let me tell you a few facts about the tools we use to measure the current. ठीक है ना? और the potential difference you can say. तो for example, अगर आपने जो voltmeter है, if you want to connect a voltmeter into a circuit, आप उसको किस configuration में connect करोगे? It would be connected in a parallel configuration. The voltmeter will always be connected in a parallel configuration, while an ammeter will always be connected in a series configuration. This is a voltmeter, and it will always be connected in a parallel configuration, while an ammeter will always be connected in a series configuration. जैसे ये हमारे पास resistor आ गया, this will be our ammeter. Here or here somewhere, this will be our ammeter. ठीक है ना? So yeah, having that said, let's look at the options. A. A में हमारे पास जो voltmeter है, that is in the parallel, and our ammeter is in the series. So yeah, that concludes our answer, which is A. B में आपको बता देता हूँ कि ammeter और voltmeter दोनों series में लगे हुए हैं, therefore that is wrong. C में it is measuring the collective voltage, and the ammeter is connected in an awkward position. Therefore no, C is the wrong answer as well. And D में सब कुछ उल्टा है. The voltmeter should be here, the ammeter should be here. ठीक है ना? आगे चलते हैं. Question 31. The diagram shows a circuit with a 5-volt power supply, 3 resistors and 4 output terminals P, Q, R and S. Between which pair of terminals is there a potential difference of 1.5 volts? Between PQ, between QR, between RS. इन चारों टर्मिनल्स के बीच में कौन सा ऐसा पेयर है जिसके बीच में the potential difference is equals to 1.5? How do we calculate this? We will calculate this firstly by calculating the current by using the formula V is equals to IR. V हमारे पास 5 है, I हमने निकालना है, R हमारे पास टोटल है 10. So I will be 0.5 is equals to I. अब हम क्या करेंगे? For every single terminal, for every single pair of terminal, हम एक नया फॉर्मूला लगाएंगे. ठीक है ना? In order to get the answer. First of all, for 2 ohms, 2 ohms के लिए हम पहला लगा देते हैं. V is equals to IR. I हमारे पास है 0.5 and R हमारे पास है 2. So that will be 1 ohm. 1 volt. Sorry. अब हम फिर से लगा देते हैं V is equals to IR for the QR वाला टर्मिनल. QR का टर्मिनल पे लगा देते हैं हम V is equals to IR. I हमारे पास 0.5 है, R हमारे पास 5 है, that will be 2.5. Lastly, between RS, that must be our answer because it is the only valid option left. ठीक है ना? V is equals to IR फिर से लगा देते हैं. V निकालना है, I हमारे पास है 0.5 into R हमारे पास है 3, which is 1.5. ठीक है ना? So that is our answer. और कौन सा आंसर टोटली पॉसिबल है ही नहीं. QS possible नहीं है because they are asking actually QR can be possible. QS, sorry. So yeah, sorry for that. Question 32. 200-watt lamps are connected in parallel to the main supply as shown. How much electrical energy is supplied by the mains when the switch is closed for 36 minutes? So we can calculate that very easily. How, you might ask? First of all, look at the units. The units is in kilowatts आवर. हमारे पास टाइम है मिनट्स में और हमारे पास वॉट्स जो है जो पावर है हमारे पास दैट इज इन वॉट्स. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कन्वर्ट द वॉट्स इनटू किलोवॉट्स. 100 प्लस 100 विच इज 200 वॉट्स. और अगर हम 200 को डिवाइड करेंगे बाय व्हाट यू कॉल इट 1000 वी विल गेट आर 0.2 किलो वॉट्स. ठीक है ना. सो हमारे पास 0.2 किलो वॉट्स आ गया है. लेट्स कैलकुलेट द टाइम नाउ. ठीक है ना. टाइम को हम कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? we're just simply gonna divide 36 by 60 which will give us 0.6. And what is the formula of power? Power is equals to energy divided by time. पावर है हमारे पास 0.2 is equals to energy divided by time हमारे पास है 0.6. तो 0.6 into 0.2 is 0.6 into 0.2 will be 0.12. 0.12 kilowatt hours. So C is the right answer. Question number 33. The cost of electricity is 9 cents per kilowatt hour. It takes 0.060 hours and costs 1.2 cents to boil the water in a kettle. What is the power rating of the kettle? So as we know the formula, which is total cost is equals to power into time into the cost per unit. So with this we can calculate the power rating. Total cost हमारे पास कितनी है? ये that is gonna be 1.2. हमारे पास power कितनी है? That is what we have to calculate. हमारे पास time कितना है? That is 0.060. और हमारे पास cost per unit कितनी है? That is 9. So let's do the math. So 0.060 multiplied by 9 is gonna be 0.54. So 1.2 is equals to power into 0.54. 1.2 divided by 0.54 will be our answer. 1.2 because 0.54 यहाँ multiply और वहां जाके divide हो जाएगा. 0.54 which is gonna be 2.2222. 2.2222 kilowatt hour. ठीक है ना. So if we round that off, that is just gonna be 0.22. I mean 2.2, which is gonna be C. Question 34. A transformer with an efficiency of 100% has a primary voltage input of 600 volts and a secondary voltage output of 240 volts. The secondary coil is attached to a resistor of resistance 120 ohms. What is the power dissipated in the resistor and what is the current in the primary coil? So this is the primary coil, this is the secondary coil. Primary coil के साथ AC input है which is 600 volts and secondary के साथ है 240 volts and a resistance of 120 ohms. So what we can deduce from this is that the power in primary coil is equals to the power in secondary. How do we know that? We know that because the efficiency of the transformer is 100% and the input should be equal to the output. So yeah, since we know that, we can do the rest of the question now. अच्छा जी. Firstly, we have to calculate the current. ठीक है ना. Current easily निकल आएगा. So firstly, we have to calculate the current on this side, which we can do with V is equals to IR. V हमारे पास है 240. I हमारे पास है निकालने वाला है R हमारे पास है 120. So 240 by 120 is gonna be 2 amperes as the करंट, ठीक है ना। 2 amperes करंट इस साइड पे आ गया. हाउ डू वी कैलकुलेट द करंट ऑन दिस साइड? As we know, there is a formula for power, which is power is equals to VI, or VI of this side should be equal to the VI on this side. So we can write that VP IP is equals to VSIS. ठीक है ना? तो हम निकाल सकते हैं इससे. ठीक है. तो इस साइड में हमारे पास वोल्टेज जो है, एक्चुअली लेट्स लाइक डू दिस साइड, 600, which is the VP, primary voltage, multiplied by the current which we have to calculate, is equals to VS, which is 240, multiplied by the current we just calculated, which is 2. So we can easily calculate 240 into 2 divided by 600, which will give us the answer, which is 0.8. 0.8 amperes is the current in the primary coil. ठीक है, प्राइमरी कॉइल का करंट पता चल गया. वी हैव द वोल्टेज ऑफ द प्राइमरी कॉइल. वी कैन सिंपली अप्लाई द फॉर्मूला. पावर इज इक्वल्स टू वी आई, विच इज वोल्टेज इनटू करंट. वोल्टेज है हमारे पास 600, करंट है हमारे पास, ये क्या हो गया, करंट है हमारे पास 0.8, and that will give us an answer of 600 into 0.8 is 480, I think. So 480 watts will be our power. 480 watts, 480 watts, 0.8 C will be our answer. Question 35. The diagram shows an alarm system in which switch S is shown closed. The top circuit is arranged so that the electromagnet is positioned over the soft iron contact. What happens when the switch S is opened? तो firstly, the electromagnet के directly below एक iron contact है, और iron contact के directly below एक metal है. अगर iron contact drop होएगा, it will make contact with the metal and it will ring the bell. तो मैंने इस क्वेश्चन को दो हिस्सों में डिवाइड कर दिया है. One हिस्सा being in which the switch is closed, and the second one being in which the switch is opened. मैं लिख देता हूं, switch open, switch closed. ऊपर वाला है switch closed. ठीक है ना? So yeah, firstly let's discuss this. When the switch is closed, it completes the electrical circuit. और जब electrical circuit complete होएगा, electromagnet के पास current पहुंचेगा. And when the current flows through the electromagnet, what will it do? It will create a magnetic field. And when it creates a magnetic field, it will attract the iron contact. जब iron contact ऊपर जाएगा, it will not make contact with the metal. ठीक है ना? It will not make contact with the metal. And when it doesn't make contact with the metal, जो नीचे वाला circuit है, that will not be complete. अच्छा, what if the switch is opened? When the switch is opened, the the electromagnet loses its magnetic field. जब electromagnet अपनी magnetic field lose कर देगा, the iron contact will drop. And when the iron contact drops, नीचे वाला circuit complete हो जाएगा. और when the नीचे वाला circuit completes, what will happen is the bell will ring. अच्छा, the iron contact will drop and the bell will ring. So A is the direct answer. Question 36. A microphone detects a musical sound and sends it, and the signal is fed into an oscilloscope. The diagram shows the trace which appears on the screen. The spot of light on the oscilloscope screen takes 1.2 milliseconds to travel across the screen. What is the frequency of the musical sound? As we can see, जो oscilloscope पे image बनी है, that is of two waves, two wavelength long image बनी है. This is one wave and this is the second wave. तो two wavelength long image बनी है. And in order to make that two wavelength long image, it takes 1.2 milliseconds. तो एक wavelength long image कितनी देर में बनेगी? That will be 1.2 divided by 2, which is 0.6 milliseconds. ठीक है ना? अगर हमने frequency निकालनी है, we can simply use the formula. Frequency is equals to 1 divided by t. Frequency is equals to 1 divided by time which is 0.6 milliseconds. 0.6 को अगर हम divide करें by 1000 in order to get the time in seconds, we will get this value. ठीक है ना? And if we put it here, we will get an answer 1 divided by 0.0006, which will give us an answer of 1666.666 hertz. If we round it off, that will be 1700. So just to make it clear, the only reason I divided the time by 2 is because जो wavelengths form हो रही थी, that was two wavelengths on the oscilloscope. So let's move on to question number 37. A student connects two components whose resistance can change and a fixed resistor across a 6-volt supply. Under which condition is the voltage across the fixed resistor the greatest? जो fixed resistor की resistance होगी, that will be greatest when the resistance across the thermistor and the LDR is the lowest. ठीक है ना? When the resistance across the LDR and thermistor is the lowest, the voltage across the fixed resistor will be the highest. Why is that? That is because जब ये दोनों की resistance है, that will be low. What will happen is that they will consume less voltage, and when they consume less voltage, more voltage will be left for the fixed resistor. So under which conditions is the resistance lowest for the LDR and the thermistor? थर्मिस्टर और एलडीआर के लिए लोएस्ट वोल्टेज किस किस कंडीशन में? तो जो थर्मिस्टर होता है ना, वेन एवर द थर्मिस्टर इज वार्म, जो उसकी रेजिस्टेंस होती है दैट इज द लोएस्ट. तो वार्म एंड वेन एवर द एलडीआर इज गिवन अ लॉट ऑफ लाइट, द रेजिस्टेंस इज द लोएस्ट. सो डी इज द राइट आंसर. Question 38. Technetium-99m is a radioactive isotope used in medical scanning. It is injected into the body and its emissions are detected outside the body. Which characteristics of technetium-99m makes it a suitable for medical scanning? First of all, the half-life of the radioactive isotope should be the lowest. The half-life half-life should be lowest. Why, you might ask? That is because जब भी आपने अपने आप को expose करना है to resistance, the resistance should be the for the lowest amount of time. अगर उसकी half life long होगी, it will be in our bodies for much longer amount of time. हमारी body में काफी देर के लिए resistance होगी. It might cause mutation and stuff like that. So the half life should be shortest. And as we can see, it is detected outside the body. And कौन सा ऐसा radiation है which can penetrate through a body? That can only be gamma radiation. Because जो alpha होता है और beta होती है, उनकी जो penetration power होती है, that is not as much as gamma. So yeah, D is the right answer. Question number 39. Which statement about the production of electricity in a nuclear power station is correct? A. In the reactor, the main reaction occurs when the proton hits the uranium nuclei. No, it is the neutron which hits the uranium nuclei. So it is wrong. B. The process taking place in the reactor is called fusion. It is called fission. C. The reactor produces energy to boil water and it to produce steam. The steam will rotate the turbine and so on and so forth, which will create electricity. D. Carbon dioxide is a major waste product of from the reactor. It is the nuclear waste, which is the main waste product. Question number 40. In the simple model of an atom, X orbits around Y. What are X and Y? X is the particle which is gonna rotate around the Y. X क्या हो सकता है? It is the electron. Y क्या हो सकता है? It is the nucleus. न्यूक्लियस के अराउंड होता है इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. So that is gonna be it for your paper. I hope you found this video helpful. अपनी नमाज पढ़ता रह जाएगा. Like don't miss a prayer. One of the major sins. Anyways, thank you for watching our video. This was the paper O Level Physics 505 for October November 2021. Paper 1-1 मुझे अपनी दुआओं में याद रखिएगा and make sure to follow it forward to your friends and family members, whoever needs it, right? आपको like you should spread the information, you should spread awareness, blah blah blah. And आजकल मसला भी चल रहा है फलस्तीन वगैरह में. Pray for them as well. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Allah Hafiz.